The National Association of Democratic Lawyers, NADEL, has urged South Africans to remain cautious about unverified claims made against members of the judiciary as the Madlanga Commission continues its hearings. This follows allegations that Acting Judge President Aubrey Ledwaba received 2.5 million to release murder suspect Katiso Molefe on bail. Ledwaba has since denied the allegation. Nadal says while judicial accountability is vital, allegations against judges must be backed by credible evidence and handled through proper legal channels, not in the court of public opinion. This follows weeks of testimony before the Commission probing corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system, where the credibility of some judicial officers has come under scrutiny. With the Commission set to hear more witnesses in the coming week, joining us now is Nadal spokesperson Machini Mutlong, to discuss the association's concern. Machini, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. On the 6th of July, we heard in the press briefing by the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner, that judges are involved in the capture by certain criminal syndicates. This week, we heard from Witness C before the Madlanga Commission that Judge Aubrey Ledwaba is one such judge. But your organization cautions against such claims. Talk to us about why that's the case.
Look, thanks for having us. And it's important for us to really clear our position so that we avoid mischaracterization of where we are. Nadel's position is quite very straightforward, and the facts there are germane, and is that the judges are not above scrutiny. They are not irreproachable. They are neither are they immune to corruption. But conversely, we recognize that judges, as public officials entrusted with immense responsibility, must be held to the highest ethical standards. But and to this end, we are coming out very strong that the allegations that are leveled against the judicial officers, and in this instance against Acting Judge President Ledwaba, should be verified. So if we rely on unverified and worse, second-hand information, and that in itself poses a challenge, we need to be intentional in defending the judiciary's independence, and so that we do not have a situation where the public interest, the public confidence and trust is eroded.
Yeah. Is there a difference to you whether someone makes some of these claims, say, just randomly on a soapbox on social media versus it being made before what is a very serious and important forum such as a Judicial Commission of Inquiry, the Madlanga Commission in question in this instance? Is there a material and substantive difference between whether a claim is made there, which then means it must be further probed and investigated, versus whether somebody randomly makes this on social media or in the media where there's no real investigative work that follows the claim?
No, look, we appreciate the platform that witnesses are provided for in the Madlanga Commission. But our view is that any information and testimony that has to be laid there in the commission should be subjected to rigorous scrutiny before being formally admitted. So in this context, where we are looking at is that there should be stricter screening or screening means to ensure that the testimony is supported by direct knowledge, substantiated documentation, or any credible corroboration, rather than just rumor or speculation. So where we are now, we are cautioning that we should not have a situation where judges and any other implicated person should then be subjected to the court of public opinion. If we do so, we would be inviting anarchy into the judicial system, and that will impact on the integrity of our justice system.
Yeah. Talk to us about how the Judicial Services Commission, as well as consequent to that, the Judicial Conduct Tribunal process claims of impropriety by judges.
Look, these are accountability mechanisms And these accountability mechanisms are strengthened through these processes of Judicial Service Commission, the JCC. And this, we are of the view that these are disciplinary bodies which ensure the credibility of processing any complaints against judicial officers without necessarily relying on speculation or trial by the media. So it's quite important that we should approach this kind of allegations to ensure that we protect the rule of law and we ensure that justice is administered impartially.
Yeah, but those conduct and disciplinary platforms, such as the Judicial Service Commission and then subsequent to that, the Judicial Conduct Commission, those processes can be quite lengthy. And oftentimes we see we haven't seen the suspension of judges too prematurely into those processes. Would you encourage, if there were to be a formal investigation or a formal complaint before the Judicial Services Commission, for a judge to take a special leave of absence or to be suspended by the president pending the outcome of those investigations?
Look, I don't think that would be a valid ground to place a judge under special leave, particularly if perhaps the starting point here would be to verify the veracity of these allegations against the sitting judge. It could very well be that these allegations are unfounded, unverified, unsubstantiated, and that could be the end of the inquiry. But to then subject a judge to to be placed under special leave just on the basis of the fact that the processes itself would be quite long, that would be unfair. Because look, where we're saying those are the mechanisms that are put in place to ensure that all involved in allegations of misconduct, they see to it that they have the right to be heard, and to be heard sufficiently to provide a response to allegations against them. So whether or not the process would be prolonged, I don't think it's a determining factor to place a judge under a special leave, particularly against the backdrop of what is happening now with regards to allegations that to this date are unverified, unsubstantiated, and in our view, baseless.
Yeah. Many people would evaluate and say, and this is what's playing out in the court of public opinion, and I want to give you an opportunity to respond to it, are saying things to the effect that, well, the claim has been made, and we saw that this judge gave a very poor judgment and reason substantiating their judgment and order in this particular case. Therefore, they must then have been corrupt. Is a poorly written and a poorly reasoned judgment reason enough to suspect impropriety?
Definitely not. Definitely not. That is why in our judicial system, in our justice system, there are processes to be observed and to be followed in the event of a party being disgruntled with the ruling of a court, with the judgment of a court, that you have mechanisms in place in a form of appeal. Because all we're saying here, and this should come out very succinct and clear, is that judges are not irreproachable. They are not beyond reproach. But at the same time, if the judges err, if they do err, another court may very well, arrive at a different conclusion and decision. And if that is the case, then judges should their ruling, their judgments should be taken on appeal. It cannot be unless the judgment itself is so wrong in law, this mischaracterization, misinterpretation of the law, misapplication of the law, to the extent that it borders on the competence of a judge. There we are talking a different story altogether.
Yeah, and just finally here, what is your take on how the ad hoc committee in Parliament and the Judicial Service Commission should treat and handle any claims that implicate judges going forward?
Our view is this, because we are talking about judicial officers who should be held at the highest level of ethical standards, granted. And we are of the view, therefore, that the allegations leveled against them should be subjected to rigorous scrutiny. And this should entail, inter alia, obtaining information and assessing this and evaluating this information and ensuring that the evidence that is about to be leveled or that is going to be led is credible. And so that element of scrutinizing the information is quite important. But over and above that, the issue of the principle of alteram partem, where the judges who are implicated should also be afforded the opportunity to provide a response to such allegations. That is crucial, because that is the bedrock of the natural justice. That's the bedrock of our justice system, that whoever that makes allegations, those against whom allegations have been made, should be provided the platform to respond accordingly to such allegations.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to leave it there. Machini Mutlong, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Machini Mutlong is with Nadal, and he discussed there with us some of the association's concerns pertaining to the claims, the allegations made against judges.